usually told how happy I am.
Is this a new Marilyn, a new style?
No, I'm the same person, but it's a different suit.
Welcome back to Marilyn Monroe-A-Thon, the series where we look at the starring roles of the 50s icon, Marilyn Monroe. Last time we were looking at River of No Return, so really we should be looking at There's No Business Like Show Business.
The snag there is this is focusing on starring roles. Otherwise, I'd have had to watch the whole of Scudder Who, Scudder Hey just because of a brief walk-by line by Monroe in one scene.
Hi, Rad. Oh, hi, Betty.
And the problem is, show business is very much an ensemble piece.
I mean, it's got a stacked cast with some big names.
It's got him and her and them and others and... oh, hey!
Everybody gets to be in the movie!
But because of that, Monroe ends up being a secondary character. Even though there are things I could talk about, I know I mention this all the time, but the costumes are magnificent.
Yeah, I know, it's like, yeah, well done, Hannah. A 50s musical has really good costumes.
Groundbreaking.
But for the sake of the video's length, I want to talk about a contemporary review written by Bosley Crowther, winner of the most 1950s sounding name 3 years running. In it, he claims Mitzi Gaynor sings and dances like a Frenchie.
She danced like a The Eiffel Tower was behind her, like it was meant to have a French influence. Were you expecting her to dance like a German?
And added that our girl Marilyn's wiggling and squirming are embarrassing to behold.
I suppose I do feel a little bit bad for him, you know, because he was just clearly born in the wrong time. If he'd been born 50 years later, he could have made a really successful career with this. On a kick. So, right, now, on to the 7-year itch. I suppose you could say, on with the show. Oh, God.
We open with the framing device of the tradition of husbands sending the family away for the summertime to escape the heat.
Which I actually find kind of funny. Not what's happening on the screen right now, obviously, but the part where people have plans for summer. In my neck of the woods, the UK, when summer rolls around, basically we have to have a PSA from the Met Office every year to remind us how the sun works. Shade, water, sunscreen. Look after yourselves, please.
What I don't understand is why they couldn't find any Indigenous actors for this scene. You know, like Burt Lancaster, Kirk Douglas, Yvonne DiCarlo, Charles Bronson. You know I could keep going. So we meet our main man, Richard Sherman, played by Tom Yule, kissing goodbye to his story-allocated child and wife off for the summer holidays while he stays in the city. He's in his 30s, back when being in your 30s meant you're in your 40s, unfulfilled at his job and stifled by his home life. You know he does all his own stunts. When who should walk into his life but Marilyn Monroe? Oh, if only.
Monroe's character doesn't actually have a name in this, she's just referred to as the girl. Or sometimes she's called a tomato. You know, round, red, often mislabeled as a vegetable when she's in fact a fruit.
So, she's the new neighbour, and he invites her over for some drinks and Bell brand potato chips, and to share his AC.
Yeah, diamonds might not be a girl's best friend, but a wall-mounted AC unit is. At first she seems friendly, perhaps a little bit flirtatious, whilst Richard is trying to convince himself he's not that kind of girl.
Because this movie acts like affairs just kind of happen. Like right at the start, we see a group of men follow the statuesque redhead like a bunch of cartoon dogs.
Actually, this would be as good a time as any to mention that this movie is really, really horny.
This movie is randier than a Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough. There is so much innuendo in this movie.
With a big fat poodle? Mm-hmm.
To be fair, there's nothing that's really that scandalous.
I mean, okay, yeah, nothing like really outrageous, but a bit near the knuckles for a studio film made in the 50s. Some other parts that, though not directly sexual, definitely raised my eyebrows.
Like the nudist waitress at the vegetarian restaurant.
And when Richard is talking about his neighbours, he mentions two men who live on the top flat who are interior decorators. They were roommates. They were literal roommates. How did they get away with that?
There were still moments of censorship. Monroe's bath scene is cut short.
Which I call hypocrisy on that, because like what, Tom Yule gets to have all the prolonged shower scenes he wants?
During the visit, he, what I'm going to charitably call, tries to kiss her.
This is terrible. There's nothing I can say except that I'm terribly sorry. Nothing like this ever happened to me before in all of my life.
Yeah, okay.
He instantly regrets his actions and is deeply ashamed. Like, deeply. Like, to the point he thinks he's going to turn into the next Ripper. Calm down, fella, okay? Go take a quick cold shower. Or a really long hot one.
As the audience, we get to see a lot of Richard's overactive imagination. Get a little look into the going-ons of his psyche. In his fantasies, he casts himself as the suave ladies' magnet who has to beat them off with a stick.
From here to eternity.
Yeah, I get that reference.
And through his daydreams, we see how he views his wife as a dowdy homemaker busying herself with domestic crafts. He sees her in the context of the role of just wife and mother. In his mind's eye, he reimagines Monroe's character as a sultry vixen in a dark evening dress. And really, she's outgoing, bubbly, and kind of goofy. And interestingly, always wearing pale and light-coloured outfits, showing a clear visual contrast to how he imagines her.
I know, we've really grown up since the first video, haven't we?
Through his notions, he invents the idea that his wife is also pursuing an affair with this living Duplo man.
I think he needs to look into a little thing called projection. So he invites the girl out, she agrees to join him, in full makeup and heels in a heatwave, which makes her a stronger woman than I.
And man of taste, he takes her to see the Universal monster classic, The Creature of the Black Lagoon.
And I have to resist the urge to go on a rant about the actual designer of the Gill Man, Millicent Patrick. We don't have time. Look it up, it's very interesting.
But I will say my heart does go out to the girl character when she's talking about Gilman and how he just wanted love and affection. Because I'm imagining all the girls and women who watched this when it was first released and related to this, who didn't know they would have to wait 60 more years to find their people on Book Talk.
At this point, I can't not talk about it. The dress. The scene.
The moment in this film that is so famous, it has its own Wikipedia page. That unmistakable white halter dress with layers of pleats flurrying around her, designed by, who else? William Travilla. This image, more than Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, more than Niagara, this is the essential idea of Marilyn Monroe that has gone on to be referred throughout culture and media over the 71 years since its release. An image that many go to when they want to emulate her.
Yes, including yours truly.
Look, it was my first time working with pleats, okay? Leave me alone. I'm working on it.
So we were doing a cosplay shoot with some friends and, we kept trying to get the wind to an angle where it would just, blow the skirt a bit, obviously. And it never quite worked out. So, we were winding up, packing up, heading on out. And as we passed these stairs, the wind picked up and instantly me and photographer were just like, yeah, let's go for it. I legged it up the stairs, in heels, mind you. And, click, 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 and we got this photo. And what you can't see is a crowd of my fellow nerds behind the photographer going, woo! When it finally worked. They were cheering on my knickers, woo!
But this legendary vision of Monroe is not in the movie. In the film, she stands over the grate to enjoy a cooling breeze. The air just plays with the hem of the skirts to reveal her shins and knees. Ooh, ankles! Whereas this more recognisable picture, the skirt blown up over her thighs with a playful grin on her face, this became a huge part of the marketing, such as a huge marquee with a cutout of Monroe on it in New York City.
The photos of the dress being sort of blown full out is from a promotional event that was filmed on location at Lexington and 52nd Street.
Members of the public came out in the middle of the night to watch.
The cheering and catcalling ended up ruining the audio, obviously, and they couldn't use it, but that wasn't the point, was it? The point was to entertain the people.
Someone who wasn't entertained was Joe DiMaggio.
They'd been married for about 9 months at this point. While he was coming off a very successful career in baseball, she was only advancing in hers, and some reason he just couldn't find it himself to support her.
Like, yeah, the audience is thirsting after your wife, but she is going home with you.
Monroe crafted her public image through careful management of her sex appeal. It was that image that DiMaggio fell in love with. But once they were married, he expected her to give that up.
He couldn't just say, "Yep, that's my wife. Suck it, losers."
But this is the part where it's going to get a little serious. Later that night, when they went to the hotel they were staying at, DiMaggio violently assaulted her. She was screaming for help, and the makeup department had to cover the bruises. She divorced him 1 month later. Good.
No matter how much it hurts to let him go, she was not putting up with this. And at a time before no-fault divorce, that was incredibly brave. I want to go deeper into Marilyn's relationships with her husbands at some point, but I'm gonna wait until this evil nerd shows up. He admitted that he had to do a lot of introspection and understand that his possessiveness was shaped by outdated morals and machismo.
He was expressing his masculinity in a toxic way, you might say. And that wasn't doing him any favours either.
This vision of her should be celebrated, but not limit her to it. It was the notoriety of this that catapulted her from celebrity to icon, and gave her the leverage against the studios to have more control and autonomy over her career.
Again, something I am absolutely chomping on the bit to talk about in a later video.
7 Year Itch concludes when Duplo Man pops by in his best humbug plantation owner cosplay. He then misspeaks to the point that Robert thinks his suspicions about him and his wife are true. He punches him out whilst declaring his love for his wife. And it all ends with the girl and Robert ending off as friends, and he rushes out to join his wife on vacation. Like they say, if the kayak is rocking.
So, just before we finish up, I do want to quickly talk about this one film theory that I have seen battered about the internet.
All of this was in his head.
Plot twist? I mean, what in the Fight Club is this? But once I heard it, I couldn't stop thinking about it.
We've already seen Robert is a fantasist.
There's this side story about the girl pursuing modelling and acting, which had come into some issues because she did a photo shoot that others considered risque. Sound familiar?
See, she never touched the door because she's not really there. Then there's this bit.
Maybe it's Marilyn Monroe.
Maybe it's Marilyn Monroe. It is Marilyn Monroe. And if it's not Marilyn Monroe, then who's Marilyn Monroe? And my head hurts. I love this theory. I don't believe it. And it made the rewatch a lot of fun. Next time, we'll be talking about Bus Stop, the first movie she did after her escape to New York. Something else I'm very excited to talk about.
Rock Hudson, Tony Curtis, Audrey Hepburn, Bruce Cabot, Elvis Presley, Linda Darnell, Johnny Depp, hang on,